So today's video, I figured I'd do one on how to fit the floating shelves that I do on my website, just to give everyone a better chance of ensuring that they fit it correctly. When you order a floating shelf from me then, whether it's a log-ring floating shelf or a live edge one, you'll get the same parts regardless. So you'll get 2 actual floating shelf brackets, 4 wall plugs, and 4 coach screws, as well as a 10mm socket, which you can use in either the drill, or if you have an interchangeable screwdriver, it'll fit in that as well. This will fit the coach screws that are provided, as well as the brackets, which we'll go over later. Tools you'll need are a hammer drill with a 10mm masonry bit, as well as a posi screwdriver. If you have one with an interchangeable head, again, that'll be handy, but you at the very least need a posi for the brackets later. When it comes to drilling the holes in the walls then, it's a lot easier for people if you have a template. Doesn't work really for me, but for everyone else it's fine. So what I've done with these is I've got some masking tape and covered it on the back after putting the brackets in first. I use masking tape as it doesn't leave a residue on the wood and it won't pull off your paint on your walls. So make sure the brackets are in, roll the masking tape out, and then just mark on each side of the brackets where the slots are. Once you've done that, take it off and put it on the wall where you want it to be. Now that we've got the template on the wall, when it comes to putting your own one on, however, you need to consider what type of wall you actually have. For example, is it a stud wall with plasterboard on wooden battens, or is it a solid wall with brick or concrete behind the plaster? If it's a solid wall, then you can put the brackets basically anywhere on the wall, provided there are no electric cables, water pipes, or gas pipes behind it. If it is a stud wall, then ideally you'd want to try and screw into one of the wooden battens. To do that, you can try and get a stud finder. They are quite helpful for this. The main reason is plasterboard itself is actually quite weak, so you will not get the full strength of the shelf, and it's more likely to be pulled out of the wall if you put up too much weight, or if someone walks into it, for example. Either way, once you've figured out what type of wall you have, you'll definitely figure out what you've got now. So if you're going into a stud, I'd recommend using a 4mm drill bit and not using a wall plug, as the stud itself will be providing enough strength to hold the bracket on. For everyone else, get a 10mm masonry bit and then get your drill ready and find your hole. And then obviously get drilling. Obviously, I've already got mine done, so I won't do that here. That's why I know where the holes are currently. But some considerations when drilling. If you've got a hammer drill, take it slow and easy. Don't try and rush it, because what can happen is you'll start widening the hole too much and the wall plugs could end up being too loose. And don't go too slow, because otherwise it can start walking around the wall as you're trying to drill the hole. If, like me, you have something like Rowan red bricks, which means that your wall is incredibly hard, because they're almost like engineering bricks, I would heavily recommend investing in an SDS hammer drill, as it will make light duty of the job. Another thing to consider is when drilling the hole, what you want for the wall plugs is a 70mm depth hole, so that when you put the plug in, it has room at the back for expansion. So the wall plugs are 60, you want a 70mm deep hole. Once you've got the holes drilled then, do not put the wall plugs in yet. Make sure to pull this tape off first, as otherwise the rings on the wall plugs will hold the tape on and make it an absolute pain to remove. So just gently remove the tape. Right, once that's off, then pop in the wall plugs. You'll probably want a hammer just to hammer them in so that they are flush. And once you've done that, then get the brackets and the screws. Have one screw in for now and get the socket with a screwdriver. And then find me holes. There we go. Pop the one in. and start screwing it in. Once you got the one in, it holds it up, get the next, and same again that, get them screwed in. So what you want to do here then is try and aim for the bolts to be more to the middle of the slots in the bracket than at the bottom, so it doesn't have more leverage to lift off the wall. Once you've got both brackets on each side, what you then want to do is get your shelf on and level it out. So we'll get onto that now. Now that the rain's come and I've got the brackets on the wall, before we get to the leveling, what we need to do is make sure that the shelf actually slides onto this. If you had the holes slightly misaligned, not to worry, as what you can do is get your screwdriver with the bit provided for the coach screws, and then just slide on, loosen that up, and this part here can slide left or right, depending on what you want. So if it's a bit too tight to go on, just move it until it goes on. Or, alternatively, if you're finding it's a bit too loose, then you can just unscrew it, move it slightly to the left or right, then tighten it up, and that will put a lot more pressure on it to hold it on firmer. So I want that to be more in the middle there. Let's see. That. There we go. Now I get my shelf. There we go. And where are they? There's there and there. Now just push on. Might need a bit of wiggle. And there you go. That's on there now. So next up, we'll see how level it is. Get my trusty level.
Minus 1.2 degrees. Minus 1.2 degrees.
So based on that, I need to adjust this side either up or this side down. So I'll pull that shelf back off, and then I'll adjust possibly that side. I'll move that side down, and that will get the level. So however you need it to be, adjust these bolts as they can move however you need them to. Another consideration is these bottom screws here. They are posies, and what they do is adjust the tilt on the brackets. So the further in you screw them, the further up the shelf will tilt, and the further out you screw them, the further down it will tilt. So you want to screw them in based on what your requirements are. So if you think it could do with going up, just screw them in tighter. Now I've got the shelf as close to level as I can be bothered to get. There we go.
0.1 degrees.
There we go.
0 millimeters.
So once you've got it level to where you want it to be, the next thing to consider is, are you happy with the way that the shelf is? If not, it's literally a simple case of pull it off, flip it round, and make sure to get the brackets, and slide it back on. So they're like that. So you can flip them whatever way around you want. And if you decide you want a different log ring shelf that's a large, you can do the same. Or if at some point you want to change to a live edge shelf like this, then the holes line up as well. So on there we go. So nice and easy, so an interchangeable. This will work with the large log ring floating shelves, the 40cm live edge shelf, and the 60cm live edge shelf. If you get a larger live edge shelf, so the 80 or 100cm one, so go to here. So the holes will still line up for two of them, but there will be a third bracket which will go the same distance from there. So you could have it going there or there if you decide to upgrade at a later point. And when it comes to the small log ring floating shelves, the gaps are slightly closer. So what you do then, if you're using the same thing, is literally unscrew that and move it to the hole across. So where are we? There. Put that there, and then put a hole in to that one there. And then you'll be able to screw that into there. I'm trying to make it so that people can interchange them as easy as possible. So you can change your room around at any point in the future without too much hassle. Once you've got the shelf how you want it then, the last thing to consider is the weight limits that these have. So each bracket that I've provided has a maximum rated weight limit of 20 kilograms when the shelf is 25 centimeters from the wall. Obviously these have 2 brackets in, so theoretically they can take 40 kilograms total. However, I would only recommend that if you have got this in a solid wall. If it's in a plasterboard wall, even if you've got into a stud, I'd be hesitant to go over 10 kilograms, which to some people may not sound like a lot, but that's the equivalent of putting 5 2-litre pop bottles on this thing. So it's still a good amount of weight for that. And please do not try and climb these, regardless of how heavy you are, as even if they can take the weight, they could slide off as you're climbing them. So no doing pull-ups or anything like that on them. Just put some nice planted pots or anything like that on them. Hopefully you found this video useful and you've now got your floating shelves on the wall. If you have any other questions, don't forget to post a comment down below or contact me directly on the website, visionlessdesigns.com. And thanks for watching the video. Hope to see you in future ones. Hit that like and subscribe button, and thanks very much.